Hey guys, welcome back to the Chase Down. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like and that subscribe button. And today we're doing another draft breakdown. This time we're going to be talking about Jalen Green. Jalen Green's a shooting guard. Played in the G League this last year. Just played for the Ignite instead of going to college or overseas. He's 6'6", 178. Got a 6'8" wingspan. And then with the Ignite, this year, he averaged 17.9 points per game, so almost 18. 4 rebounds a game, 2.8 assists per game, 1.5 steals. He shot 36% from 3 on 5.7 attempts, so 36% on almost 6 attempts, 46% from the field. And then he shot 82, almost 83% from the free throw line, but only on 2.3 attempts. Right now, some of his comparisons are he's got similarities to Zach LaVine and Colin Sexton. I think he's kind of a mix between those two guys. Now we're going to talk about we'll talk about his offensive strengths, his defensive strengths. Then we'll talk about his weaknesses, and then we'll go into how he would fit in with the Thunder. Now on offense, this guy is just an athletic freak. He has high scoring potential, 3-level scoring potential if he can get his mid-range game a little bit better. He does really excel though at scoring inside. He can take some contact at the rim a little bit. But mainly his ability to get to the rim and give himself a chance to score. I think he's really good at that. His 3-point scoring, like I said, he shot 36%, which is fine with me. On almost 6 attempts. So, but his consistency. He had some games where he didn't make any threes and took a lot. So consistency is looking to get a little bit better, and that could improve as his career goes along, similar to Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine just became even more of a scorer as his career has gone along. He has the ability to create his own shots, and just ability to score with a hand in his face as well. He took some contested shots, and he didn't seem fazed at all by some of them. Be a crafty scorer at times, just the way he maneuvers his body when he goes to the rim, just the way he able to get around the defender, float in the air for a while, and just make some weird layups. I mean, the dude is just an absolute highlight reel. He can be a lob threat for any team that he's on. And then, since he's so athletic, he has great acceleration. He uses his long strides to get by his defenders. And then some of his go-to moves. He has a good step back go-to move. It's getting a little better. If you watch his highlights, it gets a little better. He might do it a couple more times as the season went along. And then talking about off ball, he provides some great transition offense. He can run the floor. He's going to be one of the faster guys on the court at all times, so gives you a lot of transition offense. And then also he excels at being a cutter to the basket. Coming off some off-ball screens, run and play for this guy. Just give him a cut to the basket, and then obviously he's a lob threat. So being on just a straight-up G League team, and just him and Jonathan Kuminga and some of those other guys, he did have the ball in his hand a lot. So he's not afraid to be the go-to scorer. And he can score in isolation. He ran isolation a lot, so maybe in the NBA won't have as much pressure, being on a team with another star on it, and maybe he'll be a little bit more efficient as his career goes along. And then as the season kind of progressed, it also seemed like his playmaking was starting to improve a little bit. Only average just almost 3 assists, but his passing vision seemed to get a little bit better. He's trying to create more for his teammates, those other guys involved, trying to be a little bit less isolation. So that's, high potential on offense, just high scoring. This guy's going to be a scorer from day one. That's going to be his thing. Now we're going to talk about his defense. Not a whole lot to say about his defense. He's not a great on-ball defender, but he's not terrible. He can hold his own a little bit. But he does give really solid effort. I think he's a little bit of a pest on defense. 1.5 steals per game, which I love. I love that 1.5 steals per game. He's giving a lot of effort. Trying to just cause some disruption. But he does show some flashes of being a great defender. He just got to work on his lateral quickness a little bit. But he does have the frame, being 6'6" with a 6'8" wingspan. He's got long legs. He's a fast guy. The athleticism. He has that frame and the athleticism to be a great defender. So if he gets put on the right team, he could become a really solid two-way option, or one of the better solid two-way options in the league. Now we can get on to his weaknesses. Just needs to put on some weight. Like a lot of these guys in the draft will. He's 6'6", but he's only 178. So put on some weight. That could also help him a little bit on defense. His defense, just needs to be refined a little bit. His ability to get around screens and, giving his opponent too much space when he gets screened. That's kind of his biggest weakness on the defensive end, is just he can kind of get abused by the other team if they're setting a lot of screens on him. And then, like I said earlier, just needs to improve his lateral quickness a little bit, his ability to stay in front of the defender. All the potential's there on the defensive side. And like I said, he is pretty good at taking contact, but he doesn't always finish it. Just a little bit, just improve on finishing with contact just a little bit, and I think he can be a great guy getting to the basket. And then I thought, he needs to work on his mid-range game a little bit. This G League season, he was 9 for 32. It's not a ton of shots, but improve that mid-range game a little bit, then he can become that elite 3-level scorer that a lot of people see him to be. And then since he had the ball in his hand a lot this season, scored a lot in isolation. So if he can work on his spot-up shooting ability, just moving around without having the ball in his hands and be able to score, catch and shoot threes, catch and shoot mid-range, I think would be awesome. And then just being a little bit more consistent on three-point. He was 36% on almost 6 attempts, which I think is perfectly fine. But he has those games where he went 0 for 2, 0 for 3. I think he had one game he was like 0 for 9. So, just a little bit more consistency on 3-point. I think this guy's going to be just an amazing offensive player. And then, the defensive potential will always be there. Okay, and now we can talk about the reason why we're all here. What is his fit if he were to get drafted by the Thunder? He could be a shooting guard or a small forward, defending, positionless basketball. He can play the 2 or the 3, depending on what lineup throws out there. If you want to run Shea at the 1, Dort at the 2, and then Jalen Green at the 3, you can throw Poku out there, or somebody. Just depends on the lineup he provides, and he gives the Thunder some length on the wing, which I think is what they need. 6'6", 6'8" wingspan, plenty of length to put him on the wing. And then on the offensive side of the ball, he provides that second go-to scorer. It's kind of been Dort, kind of different every game. Shea is obviously that the number one scorer. But if you draft this guy, huge scoring potential, gives that Thunder their second go-to scorer, and he can also create his own shots. Just takes a little bit of pressure off Shea. Shea's proven that he can play with other players who are ball dominant. Chris Paul, Dennis Schroeder, guys like Gallinari, all those guys, just some ball dominant players. Shea's kind of proven that he can play with those guys, which we didn't know how that would work out. Not this last season, but the season before with Chris Paul and Schroeder and Shea. The 3-point guard lineup. We know he can be out there with another guy who's ball dominant. I think if his spot up ability, his spot up shooting ability improves, his off ball ability, I think he becomes just the most perfect, running mate for Shea, to start the Thunder's next championship run with. A guy that can score. He can be an isolation guy, but a guy who can also, be excellent at spot up shooting. Just be ready to catch and shoot when Shea has the ball and he drives to the basket. Be ready for the kick out. He does have high defensive potential, and then with having a guy like Lou Dort around, his defense could really improve, and it gives the Thunder a second solid defensive perimeter guy. So Lou Dort is a great mentor for Jalen Green on that defensive side of the ball, and then just adding to it, playing with the league gives the Thunder another 3-point shooter on the wing, and then. I'm a sucker for some transition offense, the fast break offense. We saw the offense, when we had Chris Paul and Dennis Schroeder and Gallinari and all those guys, the Thunder's transition offense was terrible. Probably the worst since the Thunder started. Having Russell Westbrook on the team, our transition offense was always great. And then you saw him leave. Chris Paul comes in. The half court offense gets better, but transition offense, automatically goes way down. And then just this last season, it got a little bit better with guys like Kenrich and Dort and Roby and those guys playing a lot. It got a little bit better. But, if you draft Jalen Green, I think that gives you some more transition offense for the Thunder, which I think is a huge help. And I'm just a sucker for a fast break. Getting points off turnovers, I think, is huge in winning a game. Points off turnovers, I think, could be the difference in a playoff game. So I think that is how Jalen Green fits with the Thunder. That's his potential. I think this is probably my second favorite fit for the Thunder in this draft. Evan Mobley being the first. So just another guy that I like in this draft. I want to do a draft breakdown. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to check all the links down in the description below. Leave a like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below what you want me to talk about next. Do you want me to do another draft breakdown? What player do you want to see? Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.